And if anyone needs information just on the side there, the comprehensive plan is called PlanKCK. We have a web page specifically for all of the announcements, events, just general information about it if you're curious. And we've been having these meetings because we wanted to be able to work with the community to build this plan rather than just doing it, behind closed doors. So these were originally our internal meetings that were going to happen during our workday that we wanted to open up to you. So this is a collaborative process. And so this is the last of those initial meetings. But last week we had a really great meeting where we addressed essentially like some of the failures that we've already had in this planning process. And the comprehensive plan covers a lot of things, and we'll actually get into that in a little bit. But one of the big takeaways from these meetings has been making sure that we're bringing everyone to the table that lives in KCK and that we're getting feedback from every community, right? And we haven't really done a great job of that in the past. And so we're trying to fix that, but we need your help in doing that. And I would say some of the big takeaways that I've gotten out of these meetings is one, that there's a lot of distrust between residents and government for good reason, right? And that we haven't been doing our part to go out to those community members, to those groups. So we're trying to fix that.
On your way. There's no mouse. Come on in. You gotta be kidding me.
This is the first time we've had issues with this, but we have been trying to make it hybrid. Well, I'll let you fiddle with that.
It's still there. It's
Okay.
just hidden. And I want to make sure I get these burns in there. Oh, come on, please.
Oh my gosh.
How do I get her in?
Okay.
Do you have your laptop?
Can you let her in?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we will get her in the meeting. So that's kind of what's been going on so far. We've had a couple of bigger, larger events that have been on different days. We had a vision summit recently, which was more of our economic development piece of the plan. And then we had a resiliency roundtable, which happened before that. So does anyone have any questions thus far before I jump into recapping last week? Okay, go ahead, Leslie.
I'm just wondering how you reached out to our Spanish-speaking population so far. There were any organizational partners or anything that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's a great question, because that is one of the lessons that we've already learned early on, right? We've been trying to have Spanish interpreters at our big meetings, but the reality is that that's not where our Spanish only populations are going, right? So we are, and you'll see this on the bottom of the agenda. We haven't set a date yet, but we're partnering with El Centro to do a Spanish only meeting in July, which will include childcare and food too. And then we're also going to work with El Centro to kind of get to some of the events that the Spanish speaking population goes to and table there. So that's what we have so far. Go ahead.
If you all, I'll just suggest if you guys need any additional help with putting those together, we have translators at the site.
Awesome.
So
Yeah, I will take that for that. That'd be great.
And is a toolbox is a great resource.
Yeah. Okay.
And kind of related, I mean, I think it would be great to have the youth involved before we're all, I don't know what the median age here is, but our young people.
I'm young at heart.
Yeah, we're all young here, right? No, absolutely. Kim?
To follow behind Leslie, what are we doing today? The other languages in Wyandotte County?
Right. Absolutely.
You have quite a few.
Yep.
So I can
Go
add
ahead,
a few things
Ashley.
on that. So one, for the youth, we are looking to do kind of a poster competition with our youth on imagining the future. So that's one thing that our legal department actually asked to create, because they have a very dreary office and they were really excited about encouraging people to submit artwork. So we are working on pulling something like that together. And in terms of language translation, I just want to encourage people to use our website, because that does allow for automatic translation into the top languages that we have across the Wyandotte County. Now, it's not perfect, but it is certainly an option. And I think when we get to any future mailers, that language option will always be available, even if it's not on the actual mailer itself. You have a website you can go to look at that information, because sometimes it's a lot to have 4 or 5 languages on a single document. So we're trying to find creative ways of making that information accessible.
I don't want to beat this horse to death, but there is kind of, to the point about other languages, sometimes people don't read their own language as well. And so relying on printed materials and websites. I think the Bethel Center would be an amazing partner to engage, in-person events and hear more. And just to keep in mind that literacy challenge sometimes.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Randy.
If I may, that recommendation is exactly the kind of thing we're looking for. Where can we go physically to meet these people where they already are? We really do appreciate you guys coming here to us, but we do recognize that this needs to go both ways. We need to go to where you already are to help spread the word, provide the information, get feedback from the community. So any other ideas like that, please let us know. And if you can, get us into contact with those people or tell us when events are happening.
Yes, and then actually, if I could just segue real quick, Kim, and then I'll go back to you. If you turn to your second page here, this is the notes from our meeting last week at Pizza Planning, and essentially it was, who are those groups that we're not reaching? What are the obstacles that they're facing? And then what are the solutions that we could provide to try to reach them, right? And I think the thing is, some of these solutions fall on us, right? Some of them are how we're communicating information, in what mediums, in what languages, so on and so forth, right? But then some of it, we know that we need to be able to go to the places where these communities members are and where they're meeting, and be able to talk to them there. But the thing is, we do have a lot of distrust in the government, and also just maybe we aren't aware of everything going on. And that's where I think we would really like this group to help us, right? You are people that probably know of different spaces where you could invite us in to try to get that kind of information, right? To get people to participate in this visioning process in a really comprehensive way. And so that's where we really see this, your role in helping us do better too, right? Is to be able to bring us into the place that maybe we wouldn't have been before. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Community Health Council, because they have some, and new roots, I don't know. If yes.
Yeah. But I just want to, looking at the notes, right, from last time. Is there anything we missed, right? We've already mentioned today the language barriers. We've already mentioned youth. We had, brought up people with disabilities, Northeast area, previously incarcerated, veterans. Are there other populations that were mentioned?
So not so much a population that's mentioned, but it seems like a lot of people go to church.
Yeah.
And I know I don't know how much you can get the churches to disseminate information about the government, but it's a thought.
Yeah, I mean, how many people here go to church, right? I'm sure there's probably quite a few of you. We're happy to come to your church, to talk, right? This is a visioning process. This is about the community expressing what they want.
You should probably add Star Palmer and our spots with the queer community.
Yeah.
Just taking my little thing over here. No, I was sitting closer. I was getting ready to say it. No, I just know that LGBTQ plus housing is a continued ongoing issue nationwide, but as the entity here in Wyandotte County that serves our unaccompanied youth in that way, I think it's important for them to be at the table. I also think last week we were at the CHIP information sharing, and one of the demographics in their survey that it said completely missed was families. And so I think as we are being intentional that if you're using the CHIP as one data spot, right, that you make sure that that demographic of completely missing families. But I'm gonna say this when I say, the hardest thing about, and I think it goes across the board for anyone, but I think specifically for families and knowing that a lot of families have 2 or 3 jobs right now in our community, is that we have to, in order to get good data and for them to show up, we need to compensate people for their time. And so I don't think that that's not true in this group either, but I also think that that is just a best practice, that if you're seeking information from people, that you should be compensating them for their time. But we know one group that is disproportionately impacted is families. So, which could lead to the reason why the data was missing in that survey as well, so.
I guess, in order to be really helpful here, I guess I would love to know what you guys' timeline is for trying to reach are.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, to be clear, the beauty of our county is that there are so many different groups of people. I mean, let's be clear, that's what makes our county pretty amazing. And so, I mean, unless you're like, hey, we're embarking on like a 2-year journey to talk to everybody. I'm saying, like, I wanna know, because if that's the case, then I can come in and be like, oh, well, I can organize this one,
Yeah.
I can do that kind of thing. So I guess I'd love to know how long.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. A couple like milestones on the first page. So essentially this plan is set to be done in December of this year. So hopefully by December, we can have brought all of this information, all of this data, all, this visioning together to present to the Board of Commissioners, right, for adoption in December. So that's our kind of North Star. So what we're hoping for is, we've been asking you to come to events. We don't want to do that anymore, right? We want to go to where you're at. So we're hoping that in between now and then, we can show up at your church meetings, your youth programming, your whatever it is, right? And be able to just show up for you.
How do you want that part organized, right? Like, because I actually have 22 parents at the site exercising right now. The kids are running around like crazy. So if you want to catch them, and they're all Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I happy to be like, oh, hey, we're gonna skip exercise. You guys are gonna talk with such, but I can't do it, I guess. So that's, how would you like for that part to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the group. Like in my mind, a lot of these meetings or events or whatever, they happen recurrently, right? So if there's like a date that we can pick in like June or whatever, that works, and say, okay, well, you and I are gonna work together and I'll come to your place, and instead of doing exercise.
You want me to email you?
That's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
what I wanna get out of this today is like, if there are places where you want us to show up, my contact info is everywhere. It's on the PlanKCK page, but I can share it with you, but just reach out to me. And we also have a team of people that can help do this, but we wanna be able to go to the places where these things are happening.
Can you just give us the email?
Oh, yeah. So,
At the bottom of page 3.
yeah. Yep, forgot I put that there. Thank you, Crystal.
Do you have third Friday art walk on here?
That is one of the things we were just talking about today, yes. We haven't scheduled like a specific date to go, but yes.
Asking, because I don't know, like, if there's already a way that you all have engaged with unhoused folks, like, I know we talked about that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it was Brandy, were you and I talking about this? I can't remember. No, I think it was at the CHA thing. We were talking about that too, because I don't think they, in their assessment, were able to really reach the unhoused population from what I saw. So no, I don't have, if you have suggestions,
So you just said, I didn't see aging adults on here.
Aging adults, yeah, okay.
Aging adults, I think like the Shepherd Center. Is a great place. They just had a fancy little sock hop. I'm jealous I didn't go.
If you haven't seen that video, check it out on our YouTube site. It's awesome.
The PAL might be a good place to reach,
Did you say PAL?
kids.
Yeah, you could bring them pizza. I know on Wednesdays, they're looking for people to serve meals and
Okay.
like move it in that type of.
Uncrossed Lines provides a lot of services to unhoused.
Yeah, I'm so surprised Rachel didn't say that. I'm just chilling. I mean, everyone did see me come in. But everybody but her was. Right, it's a community effort.
So do you have a budget for like producing radio or TV PSAs?
No,
No budget.
no, I mean, we now have a community storyteller who was in here last week, just doing some B-roll. We put one out around the Vision Summit, summarizing kind of what that activity was about and what some of the outputs were, but we're very lean. We wanted to extend every single dollar we could. That's why the UG staff is taking on a considerable portion of the outreach. So we wanted to spend the money on the consultants to get as deep and heavy into the policy as we needed, knowing that this was so important, but that we were gonna put it on us to make sure that we were connecting with you. So
Sometimes in the old days when I was involved in this, you could just send a copy for PSAs to the stations and they would self-produce them and air them if and when they felt like it. But I think a lot of people watch the local news, network shows.
And that's part of why we brought on a community storyteller, is that we're gonna, as we now are gonna be able to provide more content when we do a press release, if they kind of take it for what it is and may or may not do anything about it, but if we can now provide them with video, it gives them another incentive
Right.
to cover us. So we're working on that as a part of our overarching strategy, but we agree, and UGTV is going through a significant overhaul right now, so stay tuned, because that's gonna get a lot better for information.
What about next door?
Yeah, we talked about that last time too. We do have a next door.
We pushed it out, we've pushed
Yeah.
out every single one of these events. We just don't have a huge, we have that hits about 30,000 people. Our Facebook hits about 16,000 people, so, we think, oh, that's a super easy way, just put it out there. We're not reaching 160,000 people by any stretch of the imagination, so we try a little bit of everything right now, trying to figure out what the strongest way to reach everybody is.
TikTok.
Rose, are you volunteering for us? If you want to be our TikTok personality.
I was volunteering for what?
I probably wanted
Are you putting it in there?
Some families, I think it would be good to go to National Night Out Against Crime. I know the River's having their back to school fair also the first, at a different time. Their Fridays was mentioned. The house population, I know Willa Gill with Mount Carmel, they serve lunch every day. You go over there.
Strangers Rest too.
What was that one?
Strangers Rest Church. And then a lot of the elderly persons.
Okay.
And the previously incarcerated Village Initiative does a great job with that conversation.
What was that second one? You said the national one?
The Night Out Against Crime. I know that's happening on August 1st.
Yeah, listen, the community policing usually does something right outside of NRC.
Oh, do they? Okay.
This year it's going to be at KCK, CC campus.
Okay.
For it.
That's a good one.
Not seeing libraries on the list.
Yeah.
And then the libraries are also having the kickoff for their book summer reading. I think that's what that might be a good place to take a look. Before people start watching.
If we need to target young adults, the community colleges we have would be a good place to disseminate information.
Yes.
And Donnelly. That's not what you're talking about.
We've got those two on there, yeah.
Do you have like collateral, so I understand like outreach mechanisms, but that oftentimes someone needs a next step to the outreach piece, and so like, if you outreach at these places, are you giving out collateral that has the information about what PlanKCK is? Or is it encouraging them to go to another meeting? Like, what is the like tangible thing that you want people to take away by them knowing? Is it just knowing this work's happening?
Yeah.
Or is it like you actually want their feedback in some type of way?
So it's a little bit of both, and actually that's why I have the third page on there. Which is more of a guide for you all when you get out into the community. But one is, yes, so they know what's happening and what it is, right? That's the most important. Second, so that they know where to go, right? PlanKCK website will be updated all the time with information. But then the third thing is we do want feedback about things. And like I said, this covers a lot, right? What I have here on the third page listed is quite a few topics that we know we're in fact going to cover. Some people might only care about one of these things. Someone might care about all of them, right? So I think what I'd actually be interested in hearing about too is we haven't figured out how exactly the best way to do that is, right? Because you don't want to overwhelm people and be like, give me your thoughts on all of these things. So I guess I'm kind of looking for suggestions on what you
First
think.
thing we can do right now on the UG website, there is a call for public comment, which is highly important for the HUD CDBG funding. And I think how this can be useful, how this list can be useful, whatever is important to your demographic, economic development, homelessness, preservation, whatever, which that's on there, you can use that public comment, which is highly important.
Yes.
To voice your HOA or whatever y'all got going on. And that's on the UG website. CBDD funds or community block development funds, which are HUD funds from the federal government, that they give each city, county, local municipality every year. So you can start there by giving your comment and using these documents, which you got a pretty healthy list here, to put your comment on there. So your voice is heard.
Yeah.
Can we talk about like land use
Yes,
and development?
yes, heavily needs on there.
And it's there to June the 30th. They only give you a 30-day window, which is pretty short. So June the 30th is the deadline. So
I would say two things. So based on like,
I guess I just.
you gotta,
No, I'm sorry, we can go back to you. You wanted to talk about land use?
Yeah, that's the whole reason I'm here.
What specifically do you want to talk about?
The open space preservation or green space. All kinds of new buildings are going up, trees are getting cut down, and there's 1 million vacant buildings in KCK. Why are we not reusing that land space rather than knocking down new trees, forcing out the wildlife?
Yeah.
And building new stuff when there's old stuff, plenty of old stuff.
Yeah, so that's actually, and I'm going to pass this over to Randy, our historic preservation. So that's exactly what he's focusing on. So Randy, if you want to answer that question.
Yeah, so we have a lot of resources, built environment resources in Kansas City, Kansas, that qualify for the National Register of Historic Places. The reason these buildings are getting used because they're in such disrepair, we have so little money, the economy's kind of shaky, so it's trying to get loans from the banks right now. So nobody wants to spend money fixing them up and taking a risk. So what I've been trying to do.
Aren't they spending money on building brand new buildings and clearing off the land?
But they know what they're going to spend beforehand. There's a lot of unexpected risks when fixing up an older building. So what I've been trying to do is create historic districts in our community. I'm currently focused on the downtown area because that will result in 40 to 50% back on the cost of rehabilitation and taxes. So using this mechanism through the state and federal governments, we can reduce the cost of fixing buildings by 50%.
If you're knocking down all the trees, why not just knock down the building and build in the same space that's already cleared off?
Because then you don't get that 50%, and the incentive is gone.
So it's all about money.
It's always been about money.
And I think you're touching on an issue that has been kind of brought up over the last several years. We have an infrastructure subcommittee that was looking at breadth of infrastructure services that we provide in a very large geographic area. We know we cannot afford it with the current population. We are overbuilt for the number of people we have. So this is definitely, it's a planning policy decision. It's an economic development decision, where we put incentives, where we put new development opportunities, but then it's also an infrastructure resizing kind of discussion. So those things are all happening right now. We have our capital maintenance and improvement projects prioritization happening right now, which looks over the next 5 years of infrastructure projects. They are basically taking anything off the table that is not ready to go, so that we only are planning for projects that we can fund with cash and not debt, which is a big problem that we've done in the past. So there is a lot of things happening concurrently, but this issue of land use will come up several times. And I believe one of the roundtables will talk about community development, kind of in the economic development process.
Yeah, so we are in, it's on the front page, but in October. I don't know, I will get you a refined schedule if I'm misunderstanding my own notes, but
Okay, yeah.
one of
Keep in
the,
touch with what's being done as far as that.
yes. And I do owe you an email response too, but the, we're gonna talk about community betterment agreements, which is part of that piece too, right? If you're gonna have people coming in, they should be improving the community around them, right? But I also will say too, and we haven't quite gotten the notes from the economic development consultants, but the Vision Summit that we had, you know, we essentially asked people what kind of development you want, and the majority of them wanted what you are describing, which is density, you know, having things closer together, having access to existing infrastructure, not expanding,
Yeah.
right? So there is a desire for that, and that's what that plan will reflect.
Okay.
Are we, I know we're jumping around.
No, you're good, yeah.
Are you going through this list? 'Cause
Yeah, we can go to add to the list.
Well, I was gonna say, it feels to me, we don't have anything just explicitly stating education, and I just think we're gonna talk about it. We have to have it.
Just have to be careful, because
I know.
it's a
I know.
very tricky thing,
And that
and
was
you know,
gonna be my.
and I would agree
Yeah.
that, you know, thinking about that, but there'll be a very fine line, and we'll have to
Right,
figure out what that is.
and I think that's important.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right. I was like, we probably need to get some school board.
Look at us.
Rachel.
I do think, yeah, I think you can really talk
But
about.
part of the
this.
infrastructure is already it's already the Biden administration under the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act. Is that very thing, education and workforce development. It's just, is it a priority in the unified government? And Leslie's here to represent the digital access part of that, the BEAD and the digital access. All of that is the education piece, the upskill our kids, which affects middle schools, elementary schools, and high schools. So the structure is there, but is the government committed to the structure?
Yeah. And I will say, to your point too, I think like the way that we frame a lot of education too is, and what we've talked about with economic development is like workforce development, right? Like how are we creating the programs to give people the access to a career that pays them a good wage, right? And you know, lifts them out of poverty or whatever, you know, like that. So I think that's a way of framing it too, you know?
I think, and I agree. I just don't want us to get stuck in that one, because that limits to your population that you think about with education. Because that means you have to be working age or older.
Right.
And I'm thinking you can't even really talk about working age individuals if you don't talk about what's going on with their kids, right? Because those two things relate. So I'm just trying to make sure that, you know, like I said, I'm just trying to make sure it gets on here some way. Whether we get into it, all of these things, I'm sure we'll have lots of nuances and lots of difficulties, but I just want to make sure it gets on as a category that we should be thinking about.
And I just wanted to come back to her point. I think there is a bigger conversation around historical preservation on top of how do we create developments that where here's a school building, here's where I work, here's where I live. Like it's all circular, like it's not this big distance between all of these things. Like we want to lessen the amount of people we have coming into Wyandotte County every day to work, but more people who are living and working and playing and without the word gentrification being that thing. But at some point, we do also need that as well. And so I think there's a balance, and we have not prioritized that balance. And so amongst all of the entities in Wyandotte County, not just the UG, the school district as well, like we all have a role to play in that. And so I think that conversation will continue to come up because we talk about transit oriented, we talk about all of these things. We want to meet the need, have all the people at the table, but each of those groups are also going to have their own different needs. Our unhoused population needs better access to transportation. Our working population needs better streets and roads. Like all of these things play a role. Something I wanted to mention before we move on to this list is I think people threw out ideas and threw out opportunities for you to meet places and those types of things. It would be helpful to me, I think, for if I'm directing people to this page, that there's like a calendar of events, and whether those events are open to the public or like if you have to be a member of the Leavenworth Road Association to attend their meeting, but where are you going to be so that it's not just, hey, let me recreate this event, like, oh, I live in Rosedale, I can meet you at RDA versus saying, hey, can you come to our PTA meeting? Like, and so just also that piece of like closing the gap there. And then the other thing that I was gonna say, I totally already forgot.
Well, and Rachel, just so you know, if the link to events on PlanKCK does go to a filtered version of our calendar with all the upcoming events, we just don't have anything right now on there. But yes, absolutely. And I think we'll also want to have, little collateral pieces like you share with an organization, and this is what you'll get. And we'll get that type of content pulled together for you and make that available.
Thank you. That was, and I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were asking the question about the use when I asked the question about the collateral. I think that's also important too. It's just, that's the best way to be an ambassador, is to be able to give someone something and say, here, you can go here, scan this code, whatever. So,
Yeah, there's just so much, to me, it's more the vacant buildings, like the Kmart building.
Yeah.
It was good enough to have the COVID prevention in there, but it's not good enough for anybody to buy, even if it has to be torn down. It just seems like that would be just as expensive as tearing down all the trees, that it took there.
Yeah.
So
And I just see more stuff popping out,
I also just know in that specific case that there is a lot more backhind story behind that, and people to sell us a lot of ideas and fantasies, and we go along with it, and then it doesn't happen, and then we still have a vacant campus.
if I may, kind of what we are trying to accomplish right now is to create something called a catalyst project. We're bringing in as many resources as we can downtown. All it takes is one person to be like, that's a good idea, pull the trigger on it, fix up a building, build infill, and it will refocus development from out west to downtown.
Yeah. 'cause
Once
there's
one
many
person
vacant buildings
builds,
there too.
other people are like, I can do that too. And then they'll utilize those resources. And that's how we can actively defend our green spaces that we still have, is by helping to refocus developers' attention to where we already are, to where we've already cut down all the trees and plowed over all the grass. And so that's where preservation comes in, by helping bring those resources to fix up these old buildings that have been sitting vacant. I mean, take Sauer Castle, for example. It's been in decline for 40 years-ish.
Yeah, I saw it was for sale for some outrageous amount or something,
Well,
like $1 million.
they've applied to have it fixed up.
Yeah, that's
Those tax credits, it's gonna be a multi-million-dollar ordeal. They're gonna get up to half off on that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's some significant resources that at least I am working to bring to the community to help address problems like that, to help address blight, to help address vacancy, because it will create a stronger Kansas City for us all.
Yeah, and there's more commercial property for sale that is untouched as far as knocking down all the trees and all that. Why are we still selling that? When there's so many vacant buildings that we could be filling.
Sometimes if it's commercial, it can't be zoned residential. You have to make sure it can be zoned residential if it's commercial.
Okay.
But this is a great time for you to tell us these priorities that you have. This plan, if I understand correctly, is going to be what the government's priorities are. You guys get to pick them. We are your public servants. So this is how we learn what you need from us. And then hopefully these consultants can help us figure out how to get there. So spread the word, tell everybody you know, get us as much information as you can from other people so that we can make the best plan that helps the most people. Ideally, everybody.
Are your areas opportunity zones as well?
I do not know.
We don't have any opportunity zones designated, I don't believe, in this.
In Wyandotte County?
Wyandotte County. And I think that program kind of sunset with Obama. Is that theirs? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it went away, but well, okay.
But that's where we have an economic development strategic plan process underway. So these issues, right? Do we create a green bank? Do we create a land conservation policy? Do we, draw rings around areas of development and don't go beyond that? That's Boulder did that years and years ago. That's why it looks like it does, right? So there are lots of opportunities in that economic development strategic plan to not only inform how we use the land, but who we want to attract to it, right? Do we want a vinyl fabrication company? Maybe not. Maybe we want something that's a green technology, for example. We don't want recycling centers and.
Do we want the quote
Right?
exam?
We gotta figure that out.
I mean, really.
Yeah, no, really.
We got a few hands up, so I'm gonna move left to right here, so if you wanna start.
I know I'm late, but I gotta get this out because it's a vision that I've been looking at, and I'm like, well, God, why not ask me that? And it's what I've been having a vision of our community, the freeway, coming from a three, right up there out for what? Yeah, I always wanted to see like a beautiful forest within the middle of it, you put the dot.
Like the gateway.
Yeah, because I see that like in Johnson County.
We gotta cry when you come in here.
Yeah, but I always like big heart.
I love that. Yeah, and that's a great way to engage artists, for example, right? Like that is a huge economic driver in most communities. So we are doing a cultural inventory to map where are all of our artists, where are all our cultural institutions and support services, including education, because knowing those folks, being able to tap into the talent that we have here is part of activating our local economy. So I agree, I think that'd be awesome. Yes, absolutely.
Well, just a couple things. First of all, I think KC is starting to charge developers for cutting down trees. So, so there's that, but then also to the gentleman's point about, trying to springboard off the Catalyst project. I feel like the downtown KCK CC campus is going to be pretty catalytic, and I'm just wondering if there's any thought to kind of looking at that as a catalytic project and thinking about what might go along with that, just not now, but like as an approach.
Yeah, and actually, just to respond to that, our economic development consultants, they've kind of picked like 6 catalytic projects that they think could do that, and that is one of them on there. So we'll see where they take that.
2 quick things. So I know that you guys just got like 80 RFPs in for the gateway.
Our QR stuff.
Yeah. Who gets to decide which of those are viable?
Yeah, well, so we just got the RFQs in, right? So all that means is that based on a set of criteria, we determine who is qualified to even propose a project. So they have not proposed projects yet. Now, first, we're looking at like, what are their intentions? What do they want to build? How qualified are they to do what they're saying they want to do? That kind of thing. So,
Which property is this?
so there's 3.
Oh, okay.
It's 4th in Minnesota, Indian Springs Mall, and 18th in Duro.
So that's a planning department function.
It's an economic development department function, which is right now planning, because we don't have a director for economic development. But there will be like a committee, I don't know who's on it right now, who's gonna like look through those RFQs, and once they figured out who is qualified to then propose a project, then they do the RFP, And then there's a whole second round of review, but there will be community engagement involved in that.
Okay, good.
So-
And then the other thing I wanted to mention, just in the engagement partners, I'd written down, the transit center there in downtown.
Yep.
Posting something there,
Yeah.
and on the buses.
Yeah. Okay, and then I wanted you and then you in the back.
Okay, just so you guys know, we're from the Alcott Art Center,
Okay.
and that's here in KCK. A lot of people don't know about us, but we're in a historic building. The grade school turns 100 years old this year.
Wow.
And our neighborhood got possession of the building 22 years ago, turned it into an art center. So we regularly do art exhibitions, galleries, got art in them right now. We're getting ready to do a production of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe
Nice.
out in the field. So we preserve nature. We've got a whole area that's 3/4 of the way involved in woods.
Oh, good.
And our play is outside. It's got children and adults from all over the metropolitan area. And we have a vast array of actors and artists that we're associated with, several from KCK. So if we can ever be of help.
That'd be great.
Before we leave, we have some artwork that our resident artist gave to us to bring and hand out,
Awesome.
just so you'll know some of the stuff that happens there.
That's great.
But yeah, 22 years later, we're still going strong.
Right.
And
Although he said it is a historic building, it is not designated
yes,
historic.
You guys should come talk to me.
You really should.
yeah, I want to get to know you.
Awesome, thank you for sharing. My name's Judy Ansel, I'm the mayor's labor liaison, as well as I'm with the Cross Border Network. And I have 2 points. One is I talked to somebody from a statewide nonprofit the other day that's based in Mission. And he said he wanted to move his office with 17 employees to downtown Kansas City, Kansas. He looked for 3 months, could not find anything suitable, and is now moving to Johnson County. And I think we really ought to look at, like, how do we attract more businesses if we don't have proper office space? The other issue I wanted to bring up is I was one of the people who worked on the safe and welcoming ordinance that got preempted by the legislature. And it's been over a year since a year ago, February, that ordinance is passed. And we still do not have the RFP issued for the ID. When Misty Brown left, she left the RFP absolutely ready to go out, still has not been sent out. And, this is something that actually can help with community pride and community development by having a .ID that lots of people can get and hopefully associated with businesses that accept it and ways in which we can promote being part of Wyandotte County.
That's great to know. Anyone over here?
Just real quick, in the future, you might want to have something where people can jot down notes and turn them into you, because not everybody is comfortable speaking out loud. Some people probably have ideas, but, also knowing that this is continued by government, they may not feel comfortable telling their ideas correctly. So you might need an anonymous way for people to.
Absolutely. Yes. Do I see a hand over here?
Just, I know it can go under open space preservation and food systems, but really prioritizing prairie preservation and restoration. And it can be part of our climate action plan to make us more resilient.
Yeah.
And street trees, we need more street trees, sorry. Should need everywhere.
Yes.
It's
They've
transportation.
been here a few times, but I don't think we have anyone today. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
That was me. I'm sorry. Is transportation assumed under this areas like food systems? It seems transportation is a pretty
Yeah, so, yeah, that's very true. So we actually kind of already did our transportation plan. We had our GoDOT mobility strategy, right? That was done last year, adopted in August. And that looks at everything from our streets to our public transit, to our sidewalks, our bike lanes, like that whole thing. And we've actually pursued a lot of grants for a lot of those projects and have received grants in some cases, which I also recognize we have not been doing a good job of communicating our successes, right? That's another thing that I've learned in this room. So we're still gonna look at it though, because we have to know how it relates to all of those other topics, right?
Right.
Yeah, so absolutely. Any other thoughts?
As far as sidewalks, I went to, the council, they were complaining about my dad's house. And one of the projects they were talking about was the crime scene lab.
What was that at?
Apparently, if I understood right, it's just down the street by that church, if you go on that road back to the west. They're wanting to spend $500,000 of our tax money with a sidewalk in there that nobody is ever gonna use. Why? They're wanting to follow the rules that they're telling everybody else, if you build a building, you need to put sidewalks around it, which in some cases makes sense, in some cases doesn't. There is no CSI officer that is ever going to walk to a restaurant, if there was a restaurant around here to walk to, because they have to be able to respond to the crime scene if something happens when they're watched. There's no reason to put a sidewalk there. We're just wasting $500,000. It doesn't make sense. Why, there are so many places that need sidewalks. Why are we wasting money in a place that doesn't need a sidewalk?
Right, so that brings up prioritization, right? We have to have a way to determine where things are gonna go first, right? What the greatest need is. And I don't know a lot about that specifically, but I'll definitely look into it.
There's like a church on the corner down here and there's nothing.
Okay.
Be a couple of houses here and there, but nobody ever will ever walk on that sidewalk.
Yeah.
And we're gonna waste $500,000 on it.
That may be what you see today, and that's driven a lot by our zoning code, which is woefully incomplete and out of date. Our planning director has been pushing for the 3 years he's been here to get the funds to go back and evaluate our zoning. So we see that happen a lot of times. You may have a house that's been zoned single residential, but you are actually living in a duplex. That's because our zoning code doesn't align to actual uses, and there's been a lot of kind of improvements done over the years, but it's been since the 70s, essentially, where we've had a wholesale rewriting of our zoning code. So those are issues that sometimes we don't see the full kind of issue around our specific parcel, but also we do know that policies around land use need to be retooled. And I would imagine one of our recommendations that will come out of the comp plan is to update our zoning code, because it is not reflective of folks who want a home-based business, or not reflective of the changes in short-term rentals. All these things that we're seeing that are coming up today are not addressed because it wasn't around 25 years ago. So absolutely, we know that there's gaps and a lot of opportunity for improvement.
Do you have something to add?
I was just thinking about the bike lanes.
Yeah.
Can I see a show of hands of anyone who uses the bike lanes?
Me.
Do you all ride bicycles? Okay, because I've never seen one person going down Leavenworth Road. And that's another thing, is my tax dollars went on building that sidewalk clear from like 37th Street, clear up to 77th. I live on 80th.
Yeah.
But it stopped there.
Right.
But yet my tax dollars paid for it and I don't get to use it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, who decides this and why aren't we a part of those decisions is my question.
Yeah, so Ashley had mentioned earlier that we have this, I'm gonna botch the name, capital maintenance improvement projects thing, right? And that's where you get all of your infrastructure for roads and stuff. And, every 5 years, right, the Public Works Department reprioritizes what those projects
Well,
are.
they actually reprioritize it every year, but it's a
It's for a
5-year
5-year span,
You
yeah.
can go to our website and actually request projects through their planning site. So you can, and they collect them every year through December, and then what's called CMIP, like have an hour that starts in the spring, and that aligns with our budget process. So you have an opportunity to say, I need this project here because we are not capable of seeing every single street, every single intersection. You can be the eyes on the street, direct priority. So I would encourage you to definitely add that as a list of projects.
Thank you.
So speaking of infrastructure, we haven't talked about broadband yet or anything related to what's coming down the pike with the IIJA.
Yep.
It feels like this is a prime time to be looking at that. The state broadband office is currently doing their BEAD and Digital Equity Act planning. It's really important to engage in that because they're required to do that engagement. But if all they're hearing is from internet service providers and other people, with different agendas, we may not get what we want in the plan. And so I think just aligning, making that part of the conversation now just means we can also can do double duty and inform their plan. And as the funding comes down in the next couple of years. It's going to take a while, but I think we need to be thinking about not only our broadband infrastructure, but adoption and digital skills and devices, like all the things you need to take advantage of it, including affordability. So,
yeah. I'm gonna do one more and then we'll close. So.
Okay, that's fine. Mine is more of just a question of process.
Better make it good.
Well. That's why I put the disclaimer, it's not that good. It's not that good a question. But I guess I'm just trying to think, can you broaden out the process for me of where we are? Because just to be clear, maybe I'm slow, but we've covered a lot of ground in this meeting alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm kind of like, all right, are we just grabbing all the ideas first and being tell me what help me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we've covered a lot of ground in this one. I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about. Honestly, we're covering
Welcome
a
to
lot of
Pizza and
ground.
Planning.
Yeah. And so I'm just trying to say, okay, if the first step is gathering as many ideas as possible, then organizing them into the different categories. Well, I just would love to know what the process.
Yeah.
So it's not that cool a question, but.
No, it's a good question.
It was a good way to closing.
Yeah. So you can think of it as right now is the data collection, right? So our consultants are doing more of the looking at, socioeconomic data, looking at workforce data, looking at economic development. They're doing all of that, right? They're looking at the existing data that's from, state, federal institutions, plus all of the previous plans that we have, all of the existing ones across all of UG and the community, right? So they're looking at everything that's been done. And from that, that's how we've started to develop this list of topics and needs that we have. So what we're doing here though is really trying to figure out how to best get that information from the community's perspective too, right? Because the consultants are great about data, but they're not going to be able to engage with the entire community the way that we want to. So that's why we're having these, right? Because we need your help to be able to do that better. And then from there, right, we'll have basically kind of a landscape assessment. So we'll have an analysis these are the current conditions, this is how things are. But then we'll have the feedback from you and from other community members about this is what we want KCK to be, right? And then fill in the gaps to how do we get from point A to point B, right? And that's essentially what the plan is going to be in a very watered down way.
No, that's helpful.
Yeah, you can almost imagine it we're casting this massive wide net, right? Boil a big idea, throw them all on the table, it's your, and then we're gonna keep coming back to you, but we'll refine questions. Well, if we were to think about this scenario or this scenario, what do you think? So I think you'll start to see more specific questions, more honed conversations around specific topics, because there are a lot of things to cover. But this was really about, let's throw everything up we can on the wall, see what tends to stick, so that we can direct the consultants to really dive into that, right? We know that there's a few core issues that are really, really a priority across the community. We can help really dive into that, but we want to come back to you and continue to refine and ground truth. What did we hear? Is this what you actually were thinking? Is this a surprise to you, what we're recommending? Or does this sound like something you would want to be part of, right? And those are the things we'll come back to you with throughout the process, so we kind of get more specific and honed in on policies and strategies.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm late to the part. I'm kind of curious who's doing, because I remember a couple of years ago, there was a large gathering of the commissioners and the consultant group, and they were doing a lot of ideas and putting them up on the board, so I'm just kind of curious how this is different from that.
Yeah, so each time we have like a planning process for each plan, we put out an RFP, right, and we try to pick the most qualified consultants. So for the comprehensive plan, for PlanKCK overall, we have a group called XOM, which I honestly are going to thank you. It's just so much easier to say XOM, names. And they're also, they have a sub-consultant, which is Shockey, which is gonna help us with some of this community engagement work, right? But then Randy, for example, yeah, you're good, you can keep talking. Who's doing the historic preservation plan, has a different consultant that's just looking at that, and that's the Lakota group. They're out of Chicago. And then the economic development consultant is Future IQ. They're kind of spread out. And then we have, who he didn't make it today, but Dwayne Bright, who is our Fuse Fellow at the UG, he's specifically focusing on housing. But, so we have kind of like different people focusing on some of the bigger major themes, but this is all gonna fall under the same plan because we have to make sure everything's working together, right? So it's a lot of like herding cats, but that's his job. Yeah, so. But anyways, after 12, I just want to say thank you for everything. I think from here, it would be great if you have anywhere that you think that we should be to talk to people, if there are places I can show up, or Randy or whomever, please reach out to me. My contact info is on this. I think, moving forward, Ashley is gonna
We'll send a follow-up email with some of the resources we talked about, how to sign up, suggest a project for CMIP, the capital maintenance projects. We'll send you some information about upcoming dates, and we'll give you a tool to share with friends. So if you know folks that can receive an email and you want to share it with them, help us grow our list, and we'll use that as a tool to maintain interim communications as we get ready for the next meeting.
Yes, and I think if there is a point in time where we want to like reconvene this group and see how things are going and reevaluate, we can definitely do that. So we have all of your contact information. So we'll reach out to make that decision. So anyway, thank you, everyone.
If anybody's interested in any of that artwork, come my way if you would. And we've got posters. That's how we survive. He calmed down KCK, and he actually just decided come and see it. Yeah, outside and for the show. So we're right there across from Sun Trail, and that big brick school. Thank you. We need all the people there we can get. Not enough people know about Alcott even. Oh, yeah.